How you doing? Can you hear me? Can't hear. Where am I at? Let's see. Yeah, aha, here we go. Now I
I'm
should
like,
hear. There you
yeah,
go.
I hear you.
How you doing, bro?
So far so good, bro.
That's all we can
Came off of
say.
a came off a
You
crazy ass tour, man. It was
right
it was
on.
awesome.
And who were you touring with? You were touring with Scotty Austin.
Yep,
Is that correct from Saving Abel? Is that correct?
there he
Nice.
is, right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
That's
like to
awesome.
collect some memorabilia whenever I do
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that's what it's about for
Um,
sure.
yeah, it was like a Roman party, man. Like it was awesome, dude. Like I
Right
can't even
on.
say half the shit that went down. I mean,
Right. Well,
I can say some of it, but
the statute
you
of
know,
limitations probably ain't up yet.
well, for one of the hotel rooms, yeah.
I bet. Right
But
on.
yeah, man, it was pretty sick, dude. It was well, I mean, I'll wait till we actually start, actually
I've
get
got
there.
us. I've got us recording. I start recording right off the gate. So, and then if there's something in there, I got to edit out. We'll edit it out. That's no big deal. But so how you doing today?
For the most part, just recovering, bro. Like, a lot of us musicians when we tour, we also still unfortunately have to work day jobs.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm one of them. I'm
Right.
blue collar guy. I mean, they have me I work in like an office and stuff, like a
Uh-huh.
big ass corporate office. I'm like a corporate butler, man. Like they'll
Nice.
have dude, but you know what, man? Like, I mean, it's good. They treat me right, and I can obviously go on tour and do
Right
things
on.
like this. So
Right
I
on.
like it there. But I mean, I'm driving 3 hours a day to
Oh
get to and
wow.
from work. I'm working a
Wow.
equivalent of like 72 hours a week, but only getting paid for 40. It's like I'm working
That's
for
tough.
I'm serving like 389 people by myself. I'm
Damn.
doing 15 miles a day on my feet, and as I gotten older, as you get older, you
Oh yeah.
collect more and more daily pills you
Oh yeah.
got to take
Oh yeah.
and shit
Yeah.
like that. I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and then
Oh
just a couple
wow.
months ago, my hands and feet started like bleeding and shit out of nowhere. And I'm like,
Oh,
what the fuck is this?
what the
And then come
hell?
to find out it's a rare form of psoriasis that's related to Crohn's disease. So I'm like, great. I'm like,
Wow.
and it's even worse because I'm the type of guy that when I get on stage with the band, like we're not there to just go through the motions and play our music. Like I'm a fan of crowd work comedians and shit, and I love
Yeah.
fucking with people in the audience,
Right
and I
on.
love
That's cool.
like I like giving people the rock experience that you can't
Uh-huh.
really get as much anymore. Like I
Right.
like getting in people's face. I like giving
Right.
away shit,
Hell yeah.
fucking with people in the audience. You
Hell
know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm more of an
You
entertainer
know,
than
if you ain't
anything
having
else.
a good time doing it, find something else, then, that's all
Absolutely,
I know.
bro. That's it, man.
You got to have
Like
fun in life. You got to.
yeah, and a lot of people, they aim at the money and shit. And we're not about that at all, dude. We're
Yeah.
about just fucking shredding, getting up on stage, getting wild, getting
Right
loose,
on.
giving you some. And a lot of times, since we're still on our way up, it's only been like a year and a half, something like that, since we signed with Pavement, and we had to deal
That's
with
cool.
another company before that. We also signed with Distilled too, but
Mhm.
aside from that, like we're still on our way up, so we don't have as big of a name as other people,
Right.
um,
Right.
but like our main thing is like, if we go out and we support somebody like Scotty Austin, or
Sure.
we do, a show with Dorothy or Seven
Sure.
Dust or whatever,
Right
like
on.
our main thing is like we listen, we're all human. We've all been around the block. And I
Yeah.
could tell you this, how many times have you been to a show where you're there for the main act? You have no idea about any other names on the
Right.
bill, right? And you're like, fuck, I gotta suffer through these motherfuckers. I'm gonna just
Right.
chain smoke cigarettes till it's time to
Right.
main act.
Right.
You know, our band, we
See,
fucking
I
make it.
see. I got spoiled when I lived in Sandpoint, Idaho. So I listened to a lot of Rock 945 out of Spokane. Got to know
Mhm.
the guys there, and they had fun. I messed with them too. One guy was a Broncos fan, and I, of course, am a Raiders fan. So it was nonstop fodder for there. But they had these things called Too Broke to Rock, and they're for the people who too broke to go to a show. And they were free shows. They stopped them for a minute, and then the band started calling up the guy who started and saying, hey, we want to come out, and they're not playing for nothing, they're playing to get some recognition, some more
Yes, man.
people. And some of the best shows I ever saw. They did over
No such
50,
thing as free,
over
man.
50 of them, you know
There's no such thing as free, dude.
right,
There's no
right.
such thing as free. The free is usually the most expensive shit out there. You
Yeah,
know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Because
That's
like,
true.
like it's a free show, but
Right.
realistically, all the people that come out, those are people that you're being that's the pay that you would have got for that show, whether a couple $100 or 1,000 or something like
Right.
that. Realistically, you're getting more value out of the exposure than
Oh
you would
yeah,
have money.
for
You
sure,
know what I
for
mean?
sure. That's
And
why, and, I get it. That's why I started doing this podcast thing. I've always loved radio,
mhm.
but it's a different world today, somewhat, and I've kind of, one thing in this world I know is rock and roll, and I know what good rock and roll sounds like, and I've always been the guy who turned my friends on to music, and so I'm going searching for it, but it's finding me, is the way I look at it. It's finding me, and I'm blessed for sure.
The podcasting thing is difficult to do because if you watch
Oh,
like
it's a
people like
pain in
Theo
the ass.
Vaughn, you got to know that like if you look at even things that are outside of like the music or like the
Right,
whatever podcasts or
right,
these other podcasts,
right,
you know that you need some sort of lure to pull people into your full video. So
right,
like while we're talking, if you ask like I would say like if you have crazy ass questions,
right.
that helps because then you could be like, I don't know, be like I don't know, it's fucking who's got the biggest dick in the band or
Right,
something,
right,
And
right.
I'm like, well, listen, there's a lot of talk about guitars. No, but but like something like
Right,
that would be like
right,
the lure to lure somebody
right,
into like watch your full video. But that it's like it's a whole new art, man. And it's with
right,
music, it's also like, mashed potatoes gravied into the rest of the plate. Where
right,
back in the day, you used to be able to go and play a show somewhere and it'd be a packed venue. If you
right,
sucked, they booed you off stage, threw shit
right,
at you.
right.
But
Exactly.
that shit don't exist anymore. Now it's like online everything, and these kids and a lot of kids and younger generation got screwed out of having like a good outside life.
Oh, I
So
know.
like
I know.
there's more of this like you have to give them the entire feeling, vibe, and everything about the song
Right,
within like 20 seconds on a quick
right,
reel or something. You
right,
know what I mean? Whereas it used to be like all your songs. Like I'm pretty sure you think back to like Metallica One or
oh yeah,
Battery or something like that, and
right.
you probably have a memory attached to that shit or
Oh
something.
yeah. The first
Like you
time
get
I
the
heard, I
goosebumps.
heard, I heard "Ride the Lightning." I'm 12 years old. I heard it. And I go, "What the fuck is this shit?" Because it was like, "What the hell?" This wall of noise, just And then less than a year later, I'm playing that record every day. I was like, at
Yeah.
first, but number one, I'm a fan. I know what good rock sounds like. I've listened to enough rock to, I can consider myself an expert, in a sense, but I like, those Two Broke the Rock shows are what got me. And I like finding bands that nobody's heard of, like
Yeah.
you guys. I'm scrolling Facebook. That's how I get my guests. I
Hmm.
scroll, I troll Facebook, and
Hmm.
I see someone who looks like their profile picture. They're in a band. I'm new, starting out, so I'm hustling, and I'll see if they're, oh, they're a band. Okay, let's find what they're playing. So I listen to their stuff. I go,
Hmm.
that's kind of cool, and I'm the guy who turns my friends on to new music. That's what I've always been. And
Well, well, musicians would be nothing without guys like you. So thank you
right
in
on. I
advance.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I'm trying to do. I've got a mission behind this podcast thing. I'm trying to bring some regular rock and roll shows to the coast, Oregon coast. It's a perfect spot for it. It's beautiful out. Like today, it's beautiful out. It's cold, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And to have some rock and roll down here on the beach, that'd be a cool place for somebody to play. I would think, possibly,
Yeah,
but
it depends on permitting and stuff. Because like
right,
one thing that people forget about, like when you're touring and all that stuff, and you're connecting with all the business side and the promoters and all that, is for example, I had this idea. Well, a couple of us in the band had an idea, but it's not really as feasible as we once thought. But the backyard barbecue tour, right? Where we
that's
find people who
cool.
have huge ass properties and we have like huge bonfires and we're like
Right,
all that crazy shit. Problem is, health department if you are
right,
serving food or selling food
right.
or
You
anything
got to
like
have
that, they get
bathrooms.
involved real quick,
Right,
man. And they'll shut shit down like
right,
that, dude. And
exactly.
if you play at a beach, you better have a permit.
Right,
You better book that shit well in advance and
right,
coordinated with the
exactly.
municipalities. God forbid you get involved in any of that political crap, it's game over, dude.
Oh, I
Like,
know. I
I'm gonna shut
know.
your
I
ass
know.
down. That's another thing as far as the keyword political. Rawway, my band, we don't get involved in any of that
That's
shit.
cool. I don't
We don't
either.
get involved with religion or any of that stuff.
Right on.
So we're just like me personally, like not speaking for the band, but
Right.
speaking about me personally. Like I sit right on the center of the fence, because I see,
Right.
like I was always taught in my lifetime, through a lot of different experiences, to find the best in everybody and
Right.
everything, and people
Right.
are the real treasures. So it's
That's
like
right.
I see like I look at where people come from.
Hmm.
Like I have two standards of character that I kind of look at people with. One
Hmm.
is a moral compass,
Hmm.
and two, follow through. Because a
Right.
lot of people talk shit, they don't actually back
Yeah,
it
you
up.
got to walk your talk, you know. You got to walk your talk.
Exactly, and they go hand in hand because you say you got good morals, but a lot of people are pretending to be the white knight
Right.
and pretend to be a good person, but then when it
Yeah.
comes down to it,
They got a
you're left
motive.
high and
They got a
dry.
motive. They got a motive, you know. And like
Yeah.
with me, I'm a rock and roll fan. My motive is I want to meet rock stars, and that's why, because they're the people I've always looked up to in life, for some
Mhm.
reason. Even though I'm not a musician, I got a bass here. I'm trying to learn to play at, I turn 56 next week, which is like blows
Well,
my mind.
congrats.
It blows me
You
my
live long
mind.
enough.
I'm like going,
I,
I never planned on dying, but I didn't think I'd live this long either. You know what I
Same,
mean?
dude. I thought I was given 27, dude. I
Yeah.
thought 27 I was gonna be out, but I
Right.
didn't join the 27 club, so
Right on. That's good. That's good.
yeah.
But there's some path for me to do, and so far this is working out great, and I went into it half-ass. I didn't do as much research as I should have, but
Mhm.
I got my heart in it, that's for sure. Because I've written some messages to people to try to get them on the show, and they've been like heroes of mine, since way back when, and I get all gushy and shit, like fanboyed
Mhm.
out, and I apologize. I go, I'm sorry, my bad. I'm going fanboy on you for a second. Sorry, but
Yeah, but you know what? You're ahead of everybody else that just didn't do one thing, and that's start.
that's
Dude,
it.
some people just don't even
That's
and
what.
and there's a saying that a bad plan is better than no plan. So
That's
you know
right.
what, dude? Like, because like let's say you didn't research stuff and you just jumped into it, well, you're gonna discover the cons anyway as you
Right.
do it.
Right.
So you'll get further ahead anyway, and you'll learn it
Exactly.
firsthand instead of trying to learn
Exactly.
some book knowledge and apply it to your life or something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
is way different. So, like honestly, dude, I think that it doesn't matter when you started, just as long as you did
It's long.
start, and that
Yeah.
consistency. Like Rawway, the
That's
only
what I'm
reason that
trying to get is
Mhm.
consistency. I've had so many technical problems, and I'm just going. The best interview I had, up until it was like my fourth one at the time, and it was great. Everything looked great, and it didn't record. It recorded the volume, the audio, and I'm just like, but you got to
dude, I
still
feel
put
the
it
pain,
out
man.
there.
I've had sessions where I recorded like 8 hours worth of shit, did it like 8 hours worth of mixing, gone in a flash. Another thing, we were in because we recorded Sonic Stomp in
Uh huh.
Staten Island with Mike Orlando
Right
from
on.
Adrenaline Mob.
Right
He's
on.
got a cool setup, like $1 million board, all that
Right
shit,
on.
and
Right on.
we recorded. And when we record, we always go in there with the camera too because you're going to need that for content, show people what you're
Totally.
doing. Dude, I
Totally.
recorded all of my drummers' stuff, all of it. Like I had awesome shots and everything. I uploaded it to Google Drive, and then I went and deleted it off my phone. I checked the Google Drive, and only the photos were there. Dude, I was so heated. I'm still heated
Oh,
about that. That's like years
I know
ago.
what you mean. I used to be a flinger of things. When I played video games and shit, I fling my controller when I get pissed. I don't fling
Oh yeah.
no more
Yeah,
because it gets
I used to play video
expensive.
games too. Wait, what you used to play, yo? What kind
I
of
used to play a
games?
lot of Gran Turismo. I
Oh,
like
okay.
racing stuff and golf. And Tiger
So
Woods.
Scudo
I
Pikes
would
Peak
smoke on
version, what did you
Tiger
call
Woods.
it? Did you
Huh?
ever play Gran Turismo 3? I remember
Uh-huh.
that
A
one.
little bit. That
Yeah,
was a
I
good
remember
one.
the Scudo Pikes Peak version was the
Yeah.
fastest car they had, man. I remember that. I used to play
Yeah.
that shit too.
I love fast
Yeah.
cars.
As you get older, though, you fucking don't have any as much time for it. And sometimes
Right.
I find that in life, getting attached to something and then having to be away from it, that shit sucks, man. So
It
like, I kind of
sucks.
I distances myself from like, you know, video games a little
Right.
bit as I got older, because like I hated the fact that I'd have to go and work some job that I fucking hated to and then wait a whole bunch of time before I get home to even play it for like 2 hours before I have to
Right.
rinse and repeat and go back to the fucking,
Right.
you
Exactly.
know, right
Rinse and
now.
repeat.
Yeah, man, that's it, man. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I don't get home till
Jeez.
7 p.m., you know, and I'm busting my ass all damn day. But you know what? It's all for the music, man. Like
Oh,
I don't,
that's
dude, I
it.
don't give a shit about making money. I don't even give a fuck about getting famous, dude. My main thing is I just want to get out there and entertain. You know, I want to turn those motherfuckers that are sitting at the bar, just like on this tour. Those people that are sitting at the bar suffering through all those bands, they turn around when they see me go on, dude.
Right
My
on.
band, once we start, you know, first of all, we're
You're
keeping you
active up
guessing.
there. You're active up
Oh,
there.
absolutely, dude. I don't know if you've seen any of the
I've seen
footage, but I get
your
very
videos.
active.
You're active.
Oh, dude, the last show of our set of our tour, we blew out the power, and I was like, "What happened?" I'm
That's
sitting there singing. I'm
awesome.
like, "What the fuck happened?" And I look
Fuck
over at Dave. I'm like,
yeah.
"Did we just lose power?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "We blew out the power,"
Fuck yeah.
and everybody's
That's fucking cool
like, "Yeah."
shit. That's rock and roll right there.
Oh yeah, I even told people I was like, and I blew out my vocals the second to last show of the tour. So I was like, listen, guys, sorry if I sound like I just hit puberty, but I'm gonna have to scream every single one of these songs, and nobody even really could tell the difference because like I know the sweet spot, so you know
Right.
it's like.
Right.
You know, I fucking crushed that. And of course, when I blew out my vocals, I didn't know there was a reviewer in the audience that was reviewing
Oh
us.
wow.
And you know, I got tipped off like kind of right before, you
Oh
know, the
wow.
shot. I'm
It's like
like,
fuck.
shit. And even funnier, we're playing and we get to the middle of the we're in the middle of the set at this one song yesterday that we have. It's like a kind
That's a
of
great
country-ish
song.
kind
That's a
of
good
vibe.
song. That's a good
And
song.
you know, Dave's on the slide and all that stuff.
Right.
And now you know the beater for the kick drum, right? You step
Hmm.
on the kick, boom, boom, boom. The
Right.
beater flew off
That's
in the middle
awesome.
of the song, right? So 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 what next thing you know, the drummer from one of the first bands that we got real tight with, these
Right.
guys, the Memphis Rundown, fucking awesome. Love those guys, dude. Absolutely. I hope like we're trying to see if we could play another tour with them. But
Right on.
the drummer jumps up immediately, knowing exactly what happened, swapped out the kick drum, right? Meanwhile, everyone's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? I look at everybody, I'm like, wait till you see what I do next. I turn around real quick and I'm like, so bring back yesterday. Boom, we slam right back into the fucking
Right on.
song.
That's
Dude, and
fucking
we're like,
cool.
holy shit. You know, like, it was awesome. Like
That's
it was like a
awesome.
roaming party, dude. Like,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's the main thing is about having fun. Like when we get
It's
up on
about having
stage, we
fun.
put our
Yeah.
hands in, and I'll just be like, guys, can we just have fun? And they're like, just fucking have fun, fuck it, you
Yep.
know. And you know, and a lot of us, you know, it's just like, I mean, I know the other guys, like everybody wants to go bigger and do bigger stuff, you
Sure.
know. And like, I mean, shit, a dream of mine would be if like a production company hit us up and we're like, hey, we want to turn you guys into the rock experience and have you tour the fucking globe and basically
Oh yeah.
give people wild ass fucking
Oh
guar
yeah.
like fucking shows and
Hell
shit. You know,
yeah. Fuck
I
yeah.
would love that shit. Hire some
Hell
dancers,
yeah.
get some pyrotechnics, fucking set me on fire. I don't fucking care, dude. Let's
Right.
fucking go. Like, you
That's
know, obviously not
steady
don't set me
work.
on fire,
Steady
but you
work.
know.
You know.
Yeah, you know, like I would love to give like a lot of the youth like a chance to experience some of the shit in the 80s and stuff that even I missed, you know, because I was born in 87, so like, you know, I'm 38,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're
There's a lot of
youngster
shit that I
still.
missed, you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, the one thing I blew somebody's mind at the last show. The dude came up to me, he's like, "Yo, can I get a picture?" And all that? I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And then we were talking about music. And he's like, "Yeah, you never guessed my first show." And I was like, "Summer Sanitarium 2003, Stadium." And he was like, how did you know that? I was like, because that was my first big show too, and I just guessed that random, you know. And you look like my age, so and then we just bonded over that, and
Right on.
you know, and it was cool because like while we're doing these shows and connecting with, because like we always say that we're not here to just do a show, we're here to have a family reunion,
Right
and you
on.
know, if
That's
this is your
cool.
first time out, welcome
Hell
to the
yeah.
family because we're all about
Oh
rock,
yeah.
right, dude? You see that behind me?
Hmm.
Dude, a fan, this dude John that I met at one of the shows, I think it was in South Carolina or North Carolina, because we did South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee.
Right
We are
on.
supposed to do Kentucky, that got snowed out. We shot out to PA, did 2 shows there. Shot out to Massachusetts, did 2 shows there. Hit Connecticut, and then ended in Stroudsburg, PA. And he actually went up to like the Connecticut show or the PA show, one of those two. I think it was the PA show from the South. Yo, he gave that to me. He's a
That's cool.
traveling artist, you know. And
Wow.
then
That's cool. That's
he also
very
gave
cool.
me a 1992 Team USA Jordan jersey, bro. So he wants me to
Wow.
he wants me to get it all like skulled out, have it like
Right
have
on.
the RAHWAY put on and all that stuff, and
That's
like wear
cool.
it at a show and like send him the picture and stuff because he also has like a shirt company and stuff
That's
whatever. But
cool. That's
we
cool.
I met this one guy who was like a world like he worked with a lot of those world famous chefs that are on TV.
Uh-huh.
Like I forget all the names these because I don't really watch that stuff, but he's showing
Right.
me all these pictures and stuff. I'm like I recognize that big Jack Black dude.
Right.
He's a real famous chef. I'm like that guy and that guy, and I'm like I kind of know who they are, but like
Right.
made friends with him. I was taking shots with like celebrities and like all sorts of shit. My
Right on.
drummer, he ended up. I don't know if I could.
I
I
get
don't
it.
know, man.
I get it.
I mean, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that. So,
Right.
all right. Essentially, we like to mess around. Like I'm telling you, we're raw way. We do
Right.
shit the raw fucking way, and
Right.
people don't understand that. Like we're not like your other bands. Like we're not just going up there and just doing some scripted shit. A
Right.
lot of the shit's off the fucking top of the head. Fly, like you know what I mean. So we're in. I think it was North Carolina. I forget which show it was, but right before, dude, we're standing on stage. We're about to go on in like 3 minutes, dude.
Right.
Like it's about to go down, right? My drummer he looks at our bass player and he's like, "Yo, Chig," he's like, I gotta tell you something." And you know how when your drummer's sitting behind the set, you can only see like this much, right?
Right. Right.
So Chig goes up to, he's like, "What's up?" "Oh my god, dude!" So when he leaned over the drum set, he saw something he didn't want to see. So then the next thing you know, he looks, "Yo, Nick." He's like, "Steve wants to talk to you real quick." So I'm like, "What's?" "Oh my god." So then we go to the guitarist is his brother. So we're like, "Yo, Dave." I was like, "Dave, Steve wants to tell you something." He goes over and he's just staring at him. I'm like, "Oh shit." So next thing you know, we're playing and we're halfway through the set. And Steve put a hole. He hits hard as hell. Like this
Right.
man is very strong. And but he plays with like marching band sticks and a custom.
Right.
His kit that he uses, he built.
Right.
Like so he put his freaking snare. He put a hole through his snare, right? So I'm sitting there talking and telling people shit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, "Hey guys, you know what? You know what just happened before this show started?" And I told them what happened, and they're like, "Ah, dude, the set ends, right?" And these two jacked bearded dudes come up to the front, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And they're like, "Yo, you guys are great." I'm like, "Yo, were you serious about what you said on stage? You know, about your drummer?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, we don't give a fuck, dude." And he was like, "We don't believe you." And I'm like, "Challenge accepted." I'm like, "Yo, Steve, go talk to these dudes. Let me tell you, yo, the ending is this. He goes in the back of the bar. Whatever happens, these guys are ready with a camera, caught the shit on camera, and they're gonna put him in some fucked up calendar, dude." But
That's
that's
awesome.
rock and roll, man. Like we
That's
don't
rock
give
and
a
roll.
fuck, dude. Like
When
you
I
know,
moved
it's just
when I moved to Idaho, I got kind of famous with the rock station up there because I pick up my stepkid from his friend's house there, and there's this pygmy goat humping this dog. I'm like, well, Northern Idaho is going to be weird, is what I'm thinking. So the next time I go over, I bring my camera, of course. And I'm following this goat around, talking dirty to it, trying to entice it. And then Volbeat had just came out with Hallelujah Goat. So I dubbed that over the top, but you can hear me still talking dirty to this goat. And I sent it to the radio station. They go, "Oh, this boy's bonkers nuts. We like him." And Volbeat came and played their outdoor show that year. And they go, "And Latin Idaho's going to love these guys." And they came out playing Hallelujah Goat. I'm just like, score.
that's awesome, dude. Yeah, we have a guy that's kind of like that by in Jersey. We have a radio station in Central Jersey called 95.9 The Rad, and there's a guy named Gotts, and he would go to every show, like festivals, like Mayhem Fest, whatever, and he would do crazy shit. Like he would dress up like a fairy and just be
Right.
messing with people and stuff, like and it's just like he was awesome. Like he like see that's what you need though. Like if I
Well,
ever
and I would
stopped, like,
exactly, and I've got another podcast I do, and it's basically just me doing dabs with my buddies, and we're just getting big. And I'm gonna start instituting, you know, tasks to do, like Spartan races to have, little tasks to do after every dab, and like there's helmet day, which is that's serious day. You get your helmet on and all your safety gear. And I've got like catcher's shin things, shin pads, and I've got a umpire's chest thing, just in case, get all dressed up and safety down, first.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ideas you could do with that. Like me, I'd probably get real fucking crazy with it. Like I'd probably involve fireworks and fucking prop shit that'll be breaking over my head and stuff. I don't know. Like
me and my buddy, we were gonna dress up as the Easter Bunny this year and just to promote our podcast. Just bring eggs and put our podcast address in there, and shit. But you know how hard it is to find a bunny suit for a guy that's like 6'5" and like 390.
I think you're looking on the wrong websites, man.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, because they're out there. I think they might have been snatched up in the past decade, though.
The ones we did find were like $600 each. And I'm like, going, fuck that. I don't know about that. Your own. That's crazy money there.
Yeah, you might find the rabbit outfit to have a little back door in them.
Yeah, no shit.
It's cheap. It's cheaper for a reason. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if you have any questions that you actually want to ask.
I just usually talk about past, present, and future. Present is what you're doing now, and obviously you're touring a little bit and giving people some shows. When did you start listening to rock and roll? How did you discover rock and roll?
So I was in, this is gonna date me a lot, bro. But so you remember Columbia House?
Oh yeah.
So when I was a kid, so in my house, waking up before school, like my parents and my grandma, they would have like a boom box and it was like blasting country. And I'm like, oh my God, whatever country. But my brother, he was into rap. So I listened to some rap because of him. But at one point, the Columbia House thing where you get 11 CDs for a song or whatever the hell it was, he let me pick 2. And me not knowing anything, I was looking through and I was like, Guns N' Roses, this one sounds cool. So I picked that one, Appetite for Destruction. And then I was like, who's this guy? Tom Petty. I was like, I'll pick him too, whatever. I think I've heard that before. And then I knew that I overheard that one of my friend's moms like this guy Seal. So I just did that one just to give her that shit for free. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but maybe I was just thinking of others for being a good guy, whatever. But when I got as soon as I got Appetite for Destruction, that just set off like everything with like, and that next thing you know, I was getting into like Green Day and Metallica. Metallica though didn't really come until like I was in high school though. Like, so when I was younger, I was pretty much split between rap and rock. Like I liked, some Green Day and shit like that, but I also like DMX and Wu-Tang and stuff. So I was like raised on like entirely wildly different stuff. And it was just so as time went on, I hit high school and a lot of my friends my friends group kind of changed. And I hung out with my mom called the ALC, the Asshole Loser Club. So fucking, we were all about Metallica and Disturbed and Godsmack and Linkin Park and whatever. And so, that's how I ended up getting into Metallica and stuff. And then eventually going and seeing them at Giant Stadium when it was still around with it was Mudvayne, Deftones, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Metallica. It is freaking awesome. Like, cool. And I like Mudvayne too. Mudvayne's
awesome. Really good. I like Chad. They're interesting. I saw them with Korn in 2007 and they were awesome. 10 years, I think, opened it.
Yeah, my favorite song by them is Not Falling. I love that fucking song. And then I also like Moth from Hell Yeah or whatever. But but like it's just I like his voice. Like it's a little bit similar to mine in some aspects. As far as like it sounds like his scream singing. It sounds like real scream singing, not the Melissa Cross Fry vocal, because a lot of people do that that thing. You
Right.
know, instead of being like really fucking like yelling at somebody like they just stole your car, like hey, you know,
Right.
like that kind of shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like I do that more, and that's that. Chester also used to do a lot of that. That's why I used to
Right.
have like a garbage on the side of the stage so you could puke acid.
Right.
I have the same acid problem, hiatal hernia, you
Right.
know, forming ulcers, all that shit. I mean, I've almost died
My
13
friend
times
has
in that.
Crohn's
So
disease, and she just had a big operation on herself, about 2 years ago, and she's
some.
better now, but
Mhm.
she still has issues. I know that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I've been so I have a very aggressive form. My doctor is basically like, yo, you got time. So if you want to try like messing with your diet, quitting smoking, this, that, whatever,
Right.
you know, let's try it. And I've been trying a whole bunch of different random stuff. I've been, you know, not necessarily eating healthier all the time, but I
Right.
did like, you know, I started I mean, I know it's late in the game at 30, 37, 38, but like I started taking vitamins and shit like
Right.
that. I stopped, well, I tried to. I stopped smoking cigarettes, but and I went to the vape and I noticed that helped a little bit. I started taking these things called seed, and seed is like a pre and probiotic or whatever the hell you
Oh,
want to
that's
call
good.
it.
Right. Right.
That was helping out. And I just actually, so I was out about 2 months ago, I was out of work on, temporary disability, like I was telling you before, how my hands and feet started
Right.
bleeding and stuff.
Right.
I had no idea what the hell that was. So I was out of work for like 3 weeks getting it figured out by the podiatrist and the derm and all those other people.
Right.
And then when we finally figured out what it was like, all right, cool. But like at that time, like I don't even know where the hell I was going with that shit. Forget it. It's not even you know, that's stupid shit. But oh yeah. Well, basically, when I was out, I had to report all this stuff to my Crohn's doctor,
Right.
right? And when he saw me, he's like, "You owe me something." I'm like, "Oh shit, I've been dodging him too because I didn't want to. I don't want to do, dude.
Right.
Dude, that drink is horrible, bro. I mean, I don't know if you know, but you know,
I've got to go have one of those checks here pretty soon, so I know what it's going
I
to
didn't know that
entail.
you didn't have to chug it, bro. I've been chugging that shit. The big ass. They all told me, everybody talked to me, they're like, you didn't, you know, you didn't have to chug it. I'm like, when the fuck was somebody supposed to tell me that shit? Like, what the fuck, man? You know, but so I had to do that. But when I woke up, you know, I actually got good news. They're like, yo, we're downgrading your Crohn's to mild. Like, whatever you've been doing has been working. So I'm
That's
like,
cool.
all right, well, I guess fucking working five people's jobs as one person, getting very little sleep, and fucking driving 3 hours a day or walking 15 miles a day is helping. Okay, you know, but you know, it's just I can't wait till Rawley gets to around the right and some new stuff. We got some shit in the
Right
can that's
on.
gonna be
Right
fire.
on.
You know, so basically so to go back, so we talked about some of the stuff at present, you know, and then we're going to the past as to where I got into rock and all
Sure.
that stuff. So once high school ended, like my brother, he was a rapper. He had a rap group. They were
Hmm.
selling out shows, all sorts of shit. But I saw that they never got offered a deal, never went any higher. I
Hmm.
mean, they're packing places to the fucking fire code and still
Right.
didn't. So I was like, I'm never gonna be a musician. Fuck that shit. You know, like there's no money in that shit. Next thing you know, I was working as an EMT for 13 years, and while I was doing that in college, I saw these grand pianos floating around,
Hmm.
and so nobody was around, so I just started playing. Next thing you know, I stopped playing, and there's like hundreds of people surrounding me, clapping and going crazy. And I'm
That's
like,
cool.
they're just clapping because I'm in uniform, I'm an EMT, you know, whatever, you know, being
My
nice. So
stepdad was an EMT. He was an EMT. He did a lot of good stuff over here in Oregon for EMT.
being EMT is a thankless job. Like you really
Very
don't get
thankless.
paid that much. And
No.
sometimes, like I have friends that save people from overdoses on
Right.
heroin and stuff,
Right.
and the people woke up mad at them,
Oh
like,
yeah,
"The
they
fuck
wake
are
up
you
mad
doing?" He's
because
like,
you fucked up their high. You fucked it up.
"What the fuck you done, man?"
I
Like,
know, it's
"What the fuck?"
fucking weird. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But like,
Right.
so I kept playing piano here and there, and next thing you know, people like, you know, the one guy came up to me. He's like, "I've been playing my whole life," and he's like, "And even I don't have the dexterity and agility that you have in your hands to play whatever." He's like, "Do you even know what you're playing?" I was like, "Nope." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Holy!" So I actually at that point switched majors in college because I wanted to go in the Marine Corps.
Right.
But I got ganged up on by a bunch of people, headbutted, thrown into a car, kidnapped, and told that they're going to break my legs if I say anything else except trying college out. So I tried college out, and you know, I pretty much, I was like, I'm already like 20 G's in debt. I might as well, I'm fucking up to here. I
Right.
might as well fucking swim, you know? So I just kept going to college and shit. And I changed majors to music performance with piano and voice as my
Right on.
main thing. And that's when I found out from like all the teachers and the professors, like this guy, like my professors were, so one of them was Ron Frangipani. He wrote that song Sugar Sugar.
Okay.
One of
Okay.
them was this guy, Dr. Tripold. He came from Westminster, and his teaching was essentially descended from like this guy Zeltzer and Beethoven and Bach
Oh, wow.
teaching styles.
Mhm.
And then this other guy, well, I mean, there's other people like Dr. Rotella and all other whatever, but Mark Moeller, he was a guitarist with Shania Twain. He taught a
Mhm.
writing course.
Oh, that's
We
cool.
worked with a bunch of different people, but essentially, I discovered that I had a 4 octave range.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
considered what's called a
Wow.
lyric baritone. So I can go roughly from like E2 to G6. So I
Wow.
can go up to like mezzo soprano. I can hit really high notes.
Right on.
That's why the guys in Rawway that like they'll have me hit like hair metal high notes and
Right
stuff.
on.
You know, which when you combine it with the lower guttural kind of screaming stuff that I
It
do,
it,
um,
it sounds
it
good.
it does, but it's very difficult to pull off
Right.
because the
Right.
more you scream and get your voice hoarse, the more you lose the top end notes and you start
Right.
sounding like that kid who hit puberty. You
Right.
go, ah, you know,
Right.
like, and well, you know, like as an example, like before I get like, as a warm up and to make sure that my vocal cords are adjusted, a lot of times before I get on stage, I'll do this. I'll go, ooh, and that,
Right on.
so you can kind of hear my range in there.
Right. It
Um,
stretches out the chords a little bit.
Yeah, like I when I was younger, I used to be really weird though. I used to wake up, you know, Cemetery Gates.
Oh yeah.
There's a part in the song where he's like, "Die!" Like that he
Yep.
does that thing. I used to wake up and just hit that note randomly just to make sure I could still do it. You know, like, but
That's
there's,
cool.
you know what, like I don't consider myself like an amazing singer or like I could play guitar, I could play piano, all that stuff, but like I don't tell people I'm a musician. I tell people I'm an entertainer
Right
because
on.
I've met people like my guitarist, for example, he's a
Mhm.
fucking guitar god. You know, I also have a friend, Mezzi, who's a fucking guitar god. I have a bunch of guitar god friends. I even have friends that sound so amazing on vocals. Like this one guy, Pat, that I know, he sounds like he's auto-tuned before he even hits the microphone. Like
Really?
it's incredible.
Wow.
And he looks
Wow.
like Arnold. He's jacked. He's friendly. He's
Right.
super nice and all that. And I'm like, man, I hate you, bro. Like I just want to fucking quit when I see you, bro. Like fucking people like you. And then I have another friend who sounds spot the fuck on like Chris Cornell. He hits the
Really?
most devastating notes you can
Really?
imagine. He had a
Wow.
cold once, didn't fuck up once, dude. This dude is so amazing
Wow.
and raw. This dude Mike and dude, I've met musicians that would run circles around me,
Right.
and of course you got the mainstream musicians like Claudio and all these
Sure.
other guys,
Sure.
Chloe Campbell, blah blah. Like because we did shows in let's see upstate New York, Scaticoke, Rock and Derby with Five Finger Death Punch where they're like
Right
crashing cars while we fucking perform.
on.
Got to meet like so many people that up there. I got to meet all their remains, including Ollie before he passed away.
That's
Got to
cool.
meet Avatar tried to steal our 30 case. Fucking we were running around from here to there trying to make all these like radio interviews before we
Right.
hopped on stage. We played out in a barn in that one. That
Right.
was fucking crazy. And then we got to meet. Well, I was looking for my guitarist, Dave. He has like long curly hair.
Hmm.
He's
Right.
Jewish and Cuban or whatever. And so I'm like, yo, Dave, Dave. So I go up to him, I tap him on the shoulder, and I'm like, oh shit, my bad, dude. Turns around, not Dave. Claudio from Coed and Cambria. I'm like, and then he
Wow.
says it. I was like, dude, no one's gonna fucking believe this shit. Let me get a picture, you know? So he steps aside and he's talking to Dave because they have the same fucking hair. I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. You know. I mean, I'm sitting there. We go backstage. They had like a hard tent set up, and there's like
Right.
all like 5-star catered food and shit. And you look
Right.
around, every table is like celebrities. You know, you got fucking 6 a.m. here and DJ
Right.
Ashman, blah blah blah, and all these people. And there's only one table that had one person. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go ask this guy. So I was like, yo man, you care if we sit with you? He's like, yeah, no, more and more. I'm like, all right, cool. So he's like, damn, these mashed potatoes are banging. I was like, I didn't get there yet, right? So I'm like, wait, so what do you do? He's like, oh, I'm a producer. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, I get to the mashed potatoes. I'm like, man, you got good taste. You must be a good producer. These mashed potatoes are bang. He's like, yeah, right. And I was like, wait, so what do you do for money directly deposited into your bank account? He's like, well, I've been on the producer on the road with Megadeth for the past year. I'm like,
Wow.
holy shit, Chris
Wow.
Rakestraw, Megadeth's producer. I'm just sitting here casually eating mashed potatoes
That's
and
cool.
you know. was just like there's so many things that happen. Like we got invited out to NAM back in 2018
Mhm.
in Cali. That was fucking in Anaheim. That was fucking awesome. We've done did the Rock Carnival with Godsmack and a whole bunch of
Right
other
on.
bands. I actually did that twice because I was in two bands at the
Right on.
time. And so Rahway was on the bill, and my other band won a contest to play on the other side past Beer Garden. But yeah, dude, we've done shows with a lot of big fucking
That's
names.
cool. That's cool.
But the thing is, my music, me personally, my writing, when I do have like a stronger hand in the
Mhm.
writing part of some of these songs, like my writing style is derived from David Draymond from Disturbed because
Right
he's one
on.
of my influences.
Right on.
Uh, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park because
Right
I
on.
like the way he screams and like how how they
Right.
structure their music. And Chris Cornell, definitely Chris Cornell. I think when you asked like, hey, when did you get introduced to rock? It was through my uncle Billy, rest in peace.
Right.
He was like the badass motorcycle guy with an 8 foot
Right.
python and shit,
Right.
he was jacked and tatted up and all that
Right.
stuff. And I remember being over his house and like MTV would be on. I see like Black Hole Sun
Right.
and like
Right
Danzig, like
on.
mother, all that stuff. But
Exactly. That's good stuff.
it's like that's what kind of like started it.
Right
And my
on.
dad he listened to Metallica and ABBA and Journey and all these different
Right.
things. So I was like, you kind of who you're around kind of sets the precedent most
Right.
times. So as time went on, when I was doing the piano stuff in college, that's what ended up leading me into joining bands and doing this and that.
Right
And
on.
I had my own band for a little while. And while I was playing out, that's when I did a show with this band. And at the time they had this guy with like pigtails in his hair. I'm like, this is
Hmm.
a wildly different band,
Right.
and then a couple months later, maybe like a year later, I get a call from the guitarist of that band. He said, yo, our singer, he's doing his own thing now. Like, how would you like to audition to be in the band? I'm like, if you don't mind that I do my own thing on the side, then yeah, because I got to get whatever. It's like I'm all down to like, do what other people want me to do, but I got to still get me out.
Right.
And
Right.
because my whole idea at the time was everybody kept telling me, do what you love, do what you want to do, right? Well, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I tried that shit and it didn't fucking work. So you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm gonna do what someone else tells me to do and see how the fuck that works out, right? So
Right.
I auditioned for this band and it turned out to be Rawway.
Right
And they
on.
took me and I listened to the guys because these guys they got like 10 years more in the game on.
Right.
Like they're like the legendary rock gods of the underground. And it's like, why wouldn't I listen to someone who's been around the block more times than me?
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, I remember the first show, like a big show, like that they had me jump in, was Ace Frehley at Starland Ballroom, and it was funny because when they asked me at first, because like, listen, I know who Kiss is, but like as far as like,
I'm a big Kiss nut.
so here's the thing: when you're like me, this is a different perspective than
Right.
probably you.
Right.
When
Totally.
you're like me and you're brought up in the early 2000s, like my golden years of high school and all
Mhm.
that is 2000, 2005.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and at that time, I have things like Tupac and Biggie and
Right.
DMX and Wu Tang and 50 Cent and shit,
Right.
but I also have Guns N' Roses and
Right.
Metallica and Disturbed and Linkin Park and all that stuff. Linkin Park was #1 on the Billboard
Right.
charts for a whole year straight.
Right.
So the thing is when you like so many different styles of music, you don't have time to sit there and say, oh wait, Cliff Burton wrote all of Metallica's stuff and then all the hits, and then he died, and then maybe they're coasting off their wait. Oh, but this guy over here, oh, David Draymond was a triple major in college with business and theology. Oh, wait,
Right.
you don't have time to delve into all that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You barely have enough time to memorize the lyrics. Like you listen to the song. So
Right.
like I knew a lot of like miscellaneous bands and artists
Hmm.
and stuff of all different genres.
Hmm.
I mean, I even listened to EDM and shit at one
Hmm.
point. But like the thing is, I didn't delve in as far as other people have. Like when you specialize in something, so
Right.
it's like when they asked me, "Hey Nick, how'd you like to do a show with Ace Frehley?" I was like, "Who's Ace Frehley?" They're like, we are about to stomp you out. And I'm like, you want to face the ace? I was like, oh, Kiss? And they're like, yeah, you dumb fuck. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do that shit, man. Like what the fuck, dude? It's Kiss, bro. Like even if it's just face the ace,
Right. Right.
rest in peace.
Right.
But yeah, so like after that, I just kept. But we met. Like the reason I said you got to be consistent. Consistency is key because Rawway made it this far because we worked like clockwork, bro.
Right.
Dude, we were renting a rehearsal place in Roselle, like on East Second Avenue. It was like right next to the hood, across from the projects where all the signs are spelled wrong. And I mean, it was a wild place to jam. But we had this place, and every Thursday,
Right.
and we would meet up, and sometimes multiple times a week. But it was like everything in your life can change, but not this day and time.
Right.
You will be
Right.
here. As a matter of fact,
Right.
you're putting money down the road into like renting the place and stuff.
Right.
So
Right. You might as well be
like
there.
it
Definitely.
everyone is just as serious as you because they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Right.
And that's the
Right.
one thing I've always loved about Rawway is that. So I've been in many other projects, bands, things like
Hmm.
that, and not all the time do you come across people that are like-minded, that
Right.
are like ready to
Oh,
put in the
that's for
work
sure.
and do it.
For
Most of my
sure.
projects, I felt like I was doing at least like fucking 40% of the work, and
Right.
sometimes like 95% of the work. But like
Right.
thankfully I had some other people in some of the bands or the additions of certain bands, because like my one other band, I had 9 different generations of the band, like different
Wow.
setups. Yeah, so it was like, but you know what? The one thing I found is that when you can put your ego down and
That's the big
recognize
one.
when your
Oh
ego
yeah.
is fucking shit up,
That's
that's
right.
the other thing. The bands I know that make it, if they aren't being paid like
Yeah.
CC DeVille or some, if they aren't being paid to be together,
Hmm.
then usually it comes from a deeper seated thing of
Right.
no ego.
Right.
Because when somebody gets the ego, though, it's game over, dude. That's like
Yep.
a death. It's like a
Hey,
ticking time bomb,
totally.
dude. Because once the
Totally.
people think the grass is greener on the other side, they're gonna go ahead and try it at
They're
some
gonna
point.
go
You know what I
try
mean?
it.
They're gonna curiosity gets the cat.
Hmm.
So but like, yeah, so as time went on, I went to college. I majored in all that stuff, in music performance.
Right.
Then I switched back to CJ forensics because I wanted to do DNA analysis or like
Mhm.
fingerprint technician.
Right
But
on.
I found out at the end of all my years of college that yeah, I should just go fuck off and die because they only want straight chemistry majors at the labs in my state. So I was pretty much lied to about college too,
Right.
and college works for some people, but some people just get fucked. But you know what, man? I always say this. I am grateful for the problems that I have
Yeah.
because you know what? Could be so much freaking worse, dude.
It could
Like,
be so much worse. I know
you know,
that. And I know it
when they
worse can be like, and I agree. That's one of my biggest things. It can always be worse. I'm grateful
yeah,
to I'm grateful.
people complain about shit
Yeah.
because they're not grateful for all the shit that they already have,
That's right.
you know.
That's
And
right.
2 years ago, somebody said that to me, and when I heard that, my whole life, ever since then, every year, my word of the year, if you ever ask me, is going to be
Mhm.
gratitude
Yep.
every fucking time. Because
Yep.
you know what, like sometimes you're having a really shitty day, and you
Hmm.
got to remember this, dude. You don't have to go to work. You get to go
You
to
get to
work.
go to
There
work.
are people
Yeah.
who don't have fucking legs that would love to go and
Yep.
walk around and help people and get paid to
Yep.
do it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? There's people
Exactly.
that don't have eyesight that would love to be able to play a video game.
Hmm.
There's people that can't hear that would love to know what it's like to be a musician and shit.
Exactly.
Like there's
Exactly.
so many people out there, so much less for like that's why I also try not to talk about, like, even though I've almost died 13 times, I try not to talk about the shit all the time because guess what?
Right.
I have fans that have had crazy shit happen to them, crazier than like you know somebody that I'd met a while back, a fan, told me that they woke up during surgery and they couldn't move or
Oh,
scream or anything. And this is when they were
mm.
younger and they've had PTSD for their whole
Oh, I
life.
bet. I bet.
So you know
I
what?
bet.
Like honestly, like you know that if you want to put your foot in your mouth, put your whole damn
Phew.
leg in your mouth. It's like
That would
it,
be a freaky one. I
yeah, I
couldn't
mean, there's
imagine.
people out there that I know didn't find out that their sister was their mom till their sister or
Right,
mom passed away.
right,
And they
right.
come to find out they thought that they were told that their mom turned out to be their grandma,
Hmm.
and the sister
Yeah,
was actually the mom, but had the kid too early, too
right,
young. So
right,
they wanted the kid to have like
right. I've
a
got a few friends that
grandma.
are in similar situations like that over here, and it's I don't know.
This is all out of everyone's control.
Yeah,
Like these are things
exactly.
that you can't just like alter your life path and fix these things. These are
Right,
things that people are forced to deal with, and that's one
right,
thing that Rawway, like in a capacity, tries to do. Not only are we trying to give you a rock experience, but our music is about most times about recovery and overcoming shit.
That's
If
what
it's
I
not about
noticed.
recovery, it's about giving you the strength and energy
Right.
to get your mind in that mode.
Positiveness.
Like,
Positive.
fuck everything. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
fucking
right.
do
That's
this.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm
Oh
gonna get
yeah.
shit done. I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
like I know like you being aware of something is like the first step in being able
Mhm.
to change anything. Because how can
It
you
is.
fix a problem you don't know you have? But
That's
once you
right.
do have, know that that problem exists and it's time to get over that shit, you just put on some raw way and we'll help fucking
Oh
give you the
yeah.
emotion and energy that you need. Because
That's
guess
right.
what? All of it comes from somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you could fucking spin the wheel and pick any one of us in the band, and they'll tell you some devastating ass shit.
Oh, I bet.
You
I
know,
bet.
like I've been surrounded by 30 people with knives that want to stab me in high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that
Right.
that wasn't really fun. And people's
No.
like, oh well, if I was gonna get in a fight, I would do this, and then I would dodge, and then
You don't
how
know
about
what you do
like
until
no,
you're in the situation, you know.
there's no talking. There's no
Uh,
talking and there's no
Yeah.
time. Like most fights I've been in my life were like 25, 28 seconds.
Right.
With the exception of like one or two other ones.
Right.
I fought this dude in a graveyard. That was a little bit longer, but like whatever. Like it's
But it takes it out of you fighting that long. You look at boxers that they go have 2 minute rounds or whatever, 3 minute
mhm.
rounds. 3 minutes of doing that, so it takes it out of you, you know.
Fighting fresh people for 10 minutes. Like my
Yeah.
wife and I, a bunch of years ago, we were doing MMA training.
Hmm.
It was Kyokushin karate, jujitsu, and Gracie
Uh-huh.
combative. And we had to fight like nonstop people for 10 minutes straight in a 110-degree air hanger. And dude,
That's
that shit is,
brutal.
yeah, like because all these people who aren't testing out for the next rank, all these people were basically standing around just watching, and
Mhm.
and as you're fighting this person, the ref or whatever would kick them out and point to somebody else, and somebody fresh would just jump in
Right.
and start fighting you, and you're already gassed, bro. So
Yeah,
like,
no
you
shit.
know, it's just, but it was like dude, long fights fucking suck, dude.
They
But
do.
nowadays, I mean, fighting is kind of out the window. People are
It is.
so fucking nuts, dude. I don't fuck with anybody. One time
Right.
we were doing a show with this
Exactly.
guy, Chris Jericho. He's a wrestler.
Hmm.
And he has two bands, Quarantine, which is like a Kiss tribute
I've
kind of
heard
thing,
Quarantine a little bit, and
and
Posse, of
Fozzy.
course.
Yeah, so we were doing a show with him in I think it was like Teaneck, New Jersey or whatever. And we're at the end song, and I'm having my guitarist, I'm holding the mic for him and stuff, and
Right.
I'm having him introduce the song. And as he's talking, there's some drunk dude in the audience who's like, "Girl, play a song." So my guitarist's like, "Hey, shut your mouth." He's like, "Daddy's talking right now." Right? Everybody was fucking dying, right? But as he continued talking, I grabbed the microphone. I'm like, "Please don't stab us in the parking lot. Thank you." And then just fucking went back. Like, people are fucking crazy, dude. Like
They
people
are
get so
crazy.
hopped up on Mountain Dew over bullshit, and a lot of people haven't been, you know, a lot of people haven't been told no in their life. A lot of people haven't had certain things set straight. A lot of people haven't good guidance. A lot of people
Right.
are missing, either a mother or father or both. A lot of
Right.
people, fucking grew up without, like without any sort of discipline being because
Mhm.
like, as time went on, they took away more and more tools for parents to be able
Right.
to teach and
Right.
discipline their children, and then and
Exactly.
then sadly, slowly but surely, like the world is changing quite a lot, and I
Quite a
understand.
lot.
Like I sit in the center, so so I understand that some people would argue that bullying there was like a good use to that. Like for example, if you bullied or shamed somebody for being overweight, a lot of times that would make them want to get healthy and
Motivation.
get
Right.
thinner. But
Right.
then people went too far and were
Right.
doing all the crazy stuff and getting
Right.
unhealthy with it, and it was jeopardizing their lives. So,
Right.
a lot of things happened that we put the kibosh on bullying and shaming and
Right.
all that stuff. But
Right.
like, I believe that the best is moderation. For example, Cal Williams had this joke. He said, you got a headache, you take an Advil. He's like, you take 40 Advil, that's your last headache. You know, same
No,
concept. Like, oh,
yeah.
chicken's good for you. All right, try eating 1,000 pounds of chicken in like I don't know 4 hours. I bet you'll die, dude. Water's great for you. Drink it nonstop. See what
Right.
happens.
Right.
Yeah, dude. Like moderation is key.
Is key.
Like that's why we don't get involved with the political or religious stuff, because we actually just look at the content of the character and what's really the value here. Like
Right.
so,
Right.
like because like people might argue, oh well, blah 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 this on the left or blah blah
Mhm.
blah that on the right. I'm like, well, I look at, because I like at my wedding, I got married in September. At
Mhm.
my wedding, if you see the pictures, you'll see I'm not fucking lying. Picture didn't happen. You'll have,
Right.
a Trumper next to, a very
Mhm.
liberal person with
Right.
the nose piercing and with the
Sure.
this or that. And I had a blue and green mohawk at my wedding.
Right.
Like, and we had my friends were all different nationalities and
Sure.
ethnicities and all that stuff. Dude, we're all out on the dance floor wheeling 95-year-old grandma around in a
Hell yeah.
wheelchair.
Hell
And to
yeah.
rap music, dude, to Annie
Right.
Up, which is a gangster ass rap song.
That's
Like, it was
cool.
hysterical, bro.
Right
But like,
on.
I get along with everybody because I don't give a fuck what you believe in. But if you got some pain, we can
Right.
meet in the middle on that,
Right.
because a lot of us are carrying some shit around. And
Right.
you know what, a
Exactly.
lot of people, a lot of stuff you hear out there, like, it's all poppy shit about dancing or shooting
Right.
someone or doing drugs in the club or some
Right.
shit like that. But like,
Right.
our message is a lot different, but we like to put our message out, not in like a solemn, like sad way,
Right.
but more of
No.
like you got problems too?
Right.
Fuck yeah, let's fucking get over this shit,
Exactly.
yo. Like, fuck it,
Exactly.
dude. Like, I'll lift you
Exactly.
up too, bro. Like, let's go, let's
Exactly.
fuck this world, yo. Just have
Because there's,
fun.
I
Fucking,
know one thing you got to do in life is you got to give away what you get, in a sense, if you, that's what I know, I got a person who he's in recovery, he had 50 years sobriety on the first this year.
Hmm.
And I listen to everything
Awesome.
he says, because he knows way more than me,
Well, going back to what you said about giving away what you get, guess what?
Right,
There's also a saying, it's a karma kind of
right,
saying about, if you don't share the gifts that you've been given, you will not be given any more, because the
right,
universe knows you already have gifts. Why should we
right,
give you more? But if
right.
you're always sharing your gifts with other people, then the universe will tend to give you more,
Mhm.
because it's a balance,
Exactly, exactly,
That's like that story about the two kids. They get Christmas presents, right? There's two different rooms. They bring each kid to each room and let them
Mhm.
in. The one kid, who's this rich kid, he goes into a room just stacked with all the newest PlayStations and
Mhm.
all sorts of
Right,
stuff. The
right,
most amazing crap you can imagine, expensive as hell. And he's looking, he's like, "Oh, this is cool, but I already have this, and whatever." So he's like, "I wonder what the other kid got." And the other kid, poor as shit, you know. So the rich kid goes to the poor kid's room, see what he got. He
right.
opens the door, and he's like, "Oh my god, it smells like horse shit!" And there's hay everywhere, right,
Right.
and horse poop everywhere. They gave the poor kid a whole bunch of hay and horse shit, right? And the kid pops up out of the middle of the hay, like, "Oh, you're here." He's like, and the kid's like, "How can you be happy with horse shit?" He's like, "Because if there's horse poop, there's got to be horses somewhere."
Right,
And it kind of goes back to the whole, like, your mentality and
right.
and the way you
It's
treat
either
the
half
world.
full or half empty, the cup,
Hey,
and I choose I'm half full, rather than
well,
half empty.
another saying is, "Hey, life's a bitch. Depending on how you treat her, you might get rich."
That's right. That's
So,
right.
but it's just, I think that, so as far, you heard the little bit of the past of me, you heard the present, future wise, what we're gonna continue trying to, we like, because we get a lot of offers and deals, like
Right.
once you start climbing, more opportunities will present
Sure.
themselves.
Totally.
But then it comes down to being strategic with what you
Right.
do. So right now we're being strategic. We're trying to plan out, what we're doing, this summer. I know we might end up back up in Connecticut. I know next year we got to go out to like Kentucky. I know Michigan wants us back out there. We're trying to just figure out all this stuff,
Right. Totally.
um but like, I want to get back in the studio and record a couple more tracks, but we've been playing out a song that we haven't recorded yet, so maybe we'll do that one off
Right
and
on.
get that, because we have a song called Faith that if you catch it live, like, that's the one that if your head's bopping, it's probably
Yeah.
that one,
Right on.
aside
Right
from,
on.
like, I mean, Strong has a pretty good bop. Drowning also has a pretty good bop. Rocket Ship has more of like a storytelling vibe and like a theatrical vibe
Right.
to it, but like, it's like more of like an arena song. But
Right.
like, um, you know, I mean, I definitely want to get to an arena, but like, honestly, at this point, like, I'm just, it would be nice if somebody believed in us strongly enough to give us money, but every
Right.
single thing that we've been doing has been brute force.
Right.
It's everywhere we got. like if you look at our numbers, we just hit 3,000 followers or whatever. Like the band's been together for about like, well, I've been in the band in this rendition, I don't know, I think like 10 years, something like that,
Right on.
10 years
Right on.
plus. And like at one point our Facebook got hacked and deleted, so we had to start back over with
Oh,
that shit.
God.
So there's a lot of things that like when we first got signed a bunch of years ago, after we released the song Strong and it went around and it got whatever, some things happened. We signed a deal with with somebody who was basically looking at our overall band and was like, you guys will do a show and have like 1,000 people show up. You'll be doing these 2,000 shows and you'll have like a couple hundred people will show up just for you, not even the main act.
Right on.
Like, but online, when we look at your online presence, where are those 300 people liking your stuff? Like, let's work on that. So for like a year, we worked on that. When that deal was up, that's when like 4 different labels came out. We decided to go with a deal with Pavement. That was like kind of a good deal. So we did that. We've been with them for like a year and a half. Still got like a little bit left on our contract. And then we also signed with Distilled for more opportunities and stuff. But the thing is, you need money.
For everything. Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like we gotta use our merch to make money to
Right.
pay back the
Totally.
tour stuff and this and that, and the money from the
Totally.
venues goes right back into all the paying for the tour van and this and that, whatever.
Right.
So it's like a lot of moving parts, and we budget for a lot of stuff, but at the same time,
It's
like
stuff that comes up, on the
I can't
fly.
tell you some of the offers that we've received. Like I just can't. Like
Right. Right. Right.
like legally, but whatever. Dude, if I had, let's just put it this way, if I had 25 grand on me, dude, I'd be in front of 30,000 people, bro.
Right on.
In a big ass show, but with a
Right on.
very, very big name, biggest,
Yeah.
one of the biggest names in fucking
I
rock music.
bet.
You can
That's
imagine,
cool.
dude. But I don't have 25 grand, so. So if I had met like a rich person who was like who just loved us and just
Right.
wanted shit, at this point, I'll even turn it into a real rock experience. If somebody rich out there wants to fucking sponsor some shit, like let's say one of you rich people out there has a kid, right? And he's into rock music or she's into rock music and you want them to have a once in a lifetime moment and see what it's like being backstage and being on tour.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you fund it and we'll bring both you and your kid the fucking shit. I don't care, man.
Right
Like,
on.
I know Dan probably hate me for saying that shit, but like, I think that'd be cool as shit, yo.
Right.
Because like we don't have the money to be able to do that, but if we did have the money, we could show you something awesome.
Hell yeah.
We'll show you the most awesome shit ever, and you'd be well protected because all the guys in the band are like fucking ready to fight bears barehanded. Like these
They
guys,
look like it.
yeah, and they're all sober. Everybody's
Right
sober.
on.
When
That's
we do
cool.
professional shit,
That's
like
cool.
we stay sober because we have a job to perform.
Right.
And I
Right.
want to make sure. And plus, there is nowhere to breathe in these songs. So if I was fucked up, dude, it would be a terrible show. And
Right.
like everybody put their whole lives on the line and learn shit their
Right.
entire lifetime in order to do this shit. So it's like,
Yeah.
if you're not as serious as the next person in the band, you need to get
See
the
ya.
fuck out
Yeah.
because
Get the
it's the
fuck out.
Voltron effect.
Right.
Like Voltron can't fucking turn into the big badass robot and kill the
Yeah.
bad guy if not all the pieces are there.
Right.
So
Right.
and that's another thing is I'm very thankful we have roadies and stuff like that. We call them the 18 crew. They are amazing, dude. Like I don't know how we got so fortunate, but like all the guys that help us roadie, our social media guy that hopped on a couple years back, like we have such an amazing camp of people,
That's
and
cool.
like I'm just see it goes back to great gratitude. I'm grateful for each and every single person that's involved with Rawway because, honestly, most of my life's personal accolades were because of that. Like me being able to tell half the stories that I can tell and showing how much bigger of a dick mine is than everybody else's. Like that came from Rawway, like a lot of that shit. Like I know it takes talent to do and hard work to
Right.
do this shit, but like realistically, like a lot of doors opened because of the guys in Rawway and our nonstop, consistent, work, on
That's what I'm
everything.
trying to
Everybody
do.
specializes.
I've had some spaces in between, but this is my 14th show with you. I've got 10 of them published and working on another one, getting out there, done editing. Editing is the suckest ass job ever. I fucking
That's why
hate
people
it.
outsource it.
Oh, I fucking hate it. the first person I hire is going to be a social media person and then a editor, and I'll work
So
for free.
so so there are editors out there that will edit your shit for cheap. You just gotta
Really?
look for them. Like there's
Okay,
a lot of hungry people out there that can do it quick too. You
that's
know,
cool.
like like there was a guy oh, what was his name? Jack Morgan. I watch
Mhm.
his stuff on YouTube every night. He just throws up like the most ridiculous topics that he
Right,
sees and he just kind of reacts to them and stuff. But he had people editing his stuff like because like
right
not
on.
only do you have the widescreen for like YouTube content, but you
Right.
got to also have reels. You got to have
Exactly.
the TikTok style. So then you
Exactly.
need somebody to cut up certain sections to put
Hmm.
into those short videos that will act as a lure to your main video and
Right.
stuff. And I know for a while he was paying people to do that because that takes so much of your time.
Oh, it's so time consuming. And I'm doing all this on my own, and I can focus on one form of social media platform at a time usually, but I kind of squashed all that except for my Facebook page really and YouTube. I'm just pretty much,
YouTube is where it's at
yeah, that's
money
what I'm
wise.
learning. So, but it's a
But you got
tough
to have
market too, a little
it
bit.
is because you got all these crazy topics that you
Right.
have to compete with. And if you're doing music, then you're gonna need crazy shit like my
You're
drummer
right.
showing his balls to people in there. You're gonna need stuff like, hey, I almost died 13 times, or like,
Right.
hey,
Right.
like
Right.
shit like that. Like, hey, one time I was fucking like 9 years old and my brother and I got jumped at the bus stop and some dude on rollerblades came up who was like 15 years old and beat the
Right.
living shit out of me with a hockey stick. So I crawled home bloody, and grandma came out. Old Polish grandma comes running out with the rolling pin. Like you need some sort of crazy
Oh
ass
yeah.
story like that.
Yeah.
That are gonna hook people, and that's the shit that really sucks. Is because like if you really want people to watch your stuff, like you gotta act like you're the entire TV station. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
from beginning to end, you gotta have it all planned out. You gotta know what your market is.
Yep.
You got to know whether the fuck the people that watch your shit, like Puma or Adidas, like whatever the fuck.
Right.
Like there's all these different things.
Right.
But I will say this day and age. So everything has its problems, but let's go back to gratitude.
Right.
Okay, we have AI coming out that's making the shit a lot easier.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just like CapCut, the editing program,
Hmm.
it can automatically put all the text in for your listen to your audio of your file and put the text in. It can cut out the silences automatically.
Exactly. I
The
know.
parts where
I
there's just
know.
like, oh, but that whole
Right.
that part would be cut out. It'd be, like it can.
Exactly.
So we're getting to the point where like computers are going to definitely start helping a lot more. And let's just also remember, anytime you're having a bad day and computers are giving you a problem, just remember if you go back to the medieval times, all someone had to say is, "You're a witch," and next thing you know, they're dragging you right into a
That's
big room
exactly right, too.
with
You're
a
a
burning
witch.
cauldron, and they're going to say, "Hey, we're going to stick your arm in this cauldron, and if you pull it out and it's red, then you're with the devil. You're with the red guy." Whose fucking arm wouldn't come out red? All right, you know what I mean? Like, so let's just be thankful that we live in the
Yeah.
day and age that we do, and that
Exactly.
you know what, we don't have to grow fucking barley seed to trade
Right.
for cheese and some other
Right.
crap, and then have a bad turnout on barley one year and we're totally fucked. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like now I'm
Right.
selling off my second daughter to fucking Brad and Chad over there, fucking you know what I mean? Like we
Exactly.
have so many more advantages nowadays and so much more information and
Mhm.
ability to do stuff that wasn't done. But at the same time, I bet a lot of these guys like Gene Simmons and James Hetfield and all these guys would agree that if they came out in today's day and age with this music scene, who knows if they'd actually be famous,
Yeah. Exactly.
because
Exactly.
anyone who has a phone can record something and pop it on Spotify. I could
Hmm.
literally fart into a microphone and just
Hmm.
duplicate it a bunch of times in different keys and put out the fart
Right.
song. And that shit might actually even get more fucking streams than all of my shit
Right.
combined, dude.
Right.
I mean, the one time we put out we saw a squirrel in my front tree and it was running up and it just going, I'm like, what's that? And all of a sudden another squirrel runs up and just starts doing the deed with it. I'm like, what? We put that on TikTok, got 60,000 likes out of nowhere, like pow. And I'm like, what
Exactly.
the? I'm like,
Exactly.
meanwhile, you could put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, and it like So going back to that guy Ron Frangipani who wrote the song
Hmm.
Sugar Sugar, one of the
Right.
stories he tells, he says, "Hey man, don't give up the piccolo because you never know what's gonna be that's gonna get you and pay your
Right.
bills." He's like, example, he's like, I have orchestral stuff that I did all the sheet music to the T, put this grandmaster thing out. He's like, I get some recognition. He's like, but nowhere near what I got for Sugar Sugar. He's like, I just got a royalty check in the mail the other day. He's like, and that's for Sugar Sugar. He's like, we wrote that on the back of a brown paper bag in 15 minutes in the taxi on the way to the studio. He's like, so you never know what
Right.
it's gonna be,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So like,
Exactly.
you know, but that that's the other thing is like, there's so many different ways you could do music nowadays. But I
Right.
think that, but we know what people want now. So like right now, there's a big issue with AI.
Right.
AI bands and fake
Hmm.
music and all this other stuff.
Hmm.
And listen, I've listened to some of it, and it's amazing.
Amazing. Amazing.
Like some of it is absolutely amazing. But what people are missing out on though is that real vibe. Like yo,
Right.
you want to go out and do what? Well, the malls suck because there's nothing there anymore,
Right.
and this sucks. And well, where do we go? I guess we'll just stay home. Well, guess what? If you went to a Rawway concert, you'd be able to meet up with like-minded wild motherfuckers and have a
Right.
great fucking time.
That's right.
So like that's what we were trying to do is give people the raw, no fucking computers and
Right.
backing tracks in our
Right.
shit. We're raw way giving it to you the raw fucking way.
That's
I don't
right.
give a fuck if I go off key and I'm fucking out of key for a
It
half a
happens
damn
sometimes.
song,
You're
dude.
human. It
Yeah,
happens.
well, that's what we're giving people is the human element,
Right.
that's missing, and we cut out a lot of that computer shit and
Right.
never went to because we could have
Yeah.
gotten. Check this out. You listen to Octane at all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you listen to Octane, you're gonna hear bands like Falling in Reverse with Popular
Right.
Monster. You're gonna hear bands like If Not For Me, Feel Me Now. You're gonna
Right.
hear bands like that, and when you listen to them, even Daughtry's newer stuff, you're gonna hear all this electronic stuff tucked in
Right.
there, which they're obviously dropping with
Right.
a computer somewhere. That you're gonna have that mixed in with double bass. You're gonna have two guitarists. You're
Hmm.
gonna have all the shit, right? With Rawway, it's literally the traditional four piece,
Hmm.
drums, guitar, bass, vocals. I mean, our drummer sings, so
Right
he
on.
backs me up,
Right
but
on.
like aside from that, we're just as raw as it fucking goes, dude. And
That's the
like,
way it should
you
be.
know, yeah, dude, like and like we just like to get wild and we like to entertain, So
Mhm.
so like if any bands out there are looking for a good supporting act, well, we can also cater our entire fucking like, dude, when we do certain shows, like for
Mhm.
example, Seven Dust, right?
Right.
I'll stop a song. Like there's a part in there's a song "Carry You" that we have,
Hmm.
and there's a part where the guitar comes back and
Right.
yeah. Well, right before Dave, DC, my guitarist does that and brings the song back in. A lot of times I'll stop the song and be like, "Who's almost ready for Seven Dust?" And people will go, "Yeah!"
Right.
And then we'll go boom right back into the song and just keep them
That's
going,
cool.
keep them
That's
warmed
cool.
up. So then
Yeah.
when Seven Dust or whoever gets on stage, they fucking explode. You know what I
Right.
mean? And like I love doing that shit, but like, I mean it would be nice if like, a bigger band would like, approach us and say, "Hey, we want you to fucking
Right.
cater your
Oh
act
yeah.
to us." I'm totally down to do that. And you know what?
Yeah.
The other thing is, you know, if anybody watching your podcast has mega bucks and you want to buy a piece of the band, now I will sell 40% of whatever I will permanently make from
Mhm.
now on if you give us the right price that's going to launch us into stardom. Then you can consider that your ROI because whatever I
Right.
make, you're pretty much going to make about the same shit. So
Right.
you dump $1 million into the band, that could be what we need in order to
Right.
blow the fuck up. And
Oh
guess
yeah.
what? We blow up. Like, the guys in the band are like, Nick, don't say that shit. Don't do that shit. But honestly, I don't, dude, I already told you I almost died 13 times. I don't
Right.
know last year on my birthday, one of my best friends fucking died. Like,
Right.
and he's only 39. Dude, life is the one bank account you can never check the balance for.
That's
I
right.
have no idea how
Right.
many summers I have left. So I'm trying to live. I've always
Exactly.
lived fast and hard because of that, dude. Fast as fuck.
Yep.
That's probably why I have a lot of medical issues and shit because
Right.
I was burning not the candle at both ends, but I chopped
Right.
that motherfucker her up in 12
Right.
pieces,
Oh
put
yeah.
it on fire, gasoline.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like I've been living fast my whole damn life, dude.
Right.
And it's like I want to go faster. I want to go up higher. I want to do
Sure.
crazy, wild shit and entertain people. You know,
Right.
not I always not necessarily that Diddy shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm not
Yeah.
trying to entertain like
Yeah.
that.
That's,
You know, but it's just like I
you gotta
just
have
I
fun.
wish I yeah,
Gotta
like
have
I mean,
fun.
regardless of whether somebody actually fucking jumps on the Rahway gravy
Right.
train and helps us, we're still going up no matter what. Like
Hell
we're
yeah, you
still
are.
clawing our way up, brute forcing it. We
Yeah.
don't give a fuck. We got to kick the doors down. We don't give a fuck. We have to pay on to a tour. We don't give a fuck about any of that shit. We'll do
Right.
whatever the fuck we have to. Because with me, my whole purpose for living, aside from pretty much my immediate family and
Mhm.
wife, because like I don't really have. I've already achieved my dream. My dream was to play big ass shows to big ass names,
Right
and I
on.
already did it. You know, I could
Right on.
rattle off a list. You know,
Right.
fucking, but we'll be here all damn day. But it's like I achieved that dream. Now what keeps me alive
Mhm.
and look, because the Tracy Morgan said happiness is having something to look forward to. What I
Right.
look forward to is getting on stage for that 1% of my lifetime and just going so fucking ham and making people go crazy and
Mhm.
making people have a good time when they
Yep.
were expecting to suffer through some other bullshit or they
Right.
got dragged out to the show
Right.
or whatever. You know, I like talking to people too because I like hearing people's stories. And guess what? When you listen to people's stories, it adds value to their own life, you know?
Right. Right.
Um,
Exactly.
and so I also, it also makes you feel less alone in the struggles that you are going through, you know,
Right.
and we all got a story to tell. And I personally like hearing stories because, you know, it helps me relate, you know, and it
Yeah.
helps me, like I said, feel not alone. So I just love everything about touring. If I could tour 100% of the time on the road, I'd bring my wife with me. She'd be the merch girl, and I'll
Right.
just fucking tour nonstop.
Right
You know,
on.
any big bands that want to fucking hire us on, fucking feel free to hit up me, motherfucker,
Right
because I'm
on.
ready to go all the time. The only thing that I will need though, because I have Crohn's disease, some sort of medical insurance. Yeah, if you give me medical insurance and dental, I will
Right.
tour all the time for your band. I will fucking cater. I don't care. But reality is, you know, as we grow and grow, we'll probably be headlining ourselves. So, you know,
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. But, you know, and we
Well,
one
you
thing we
guys
don't
will
forget.
be. You guys will be for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
For
The thing
sure.
is, we never forget who helped us. You
Right.
know, like for example, like you mentioned Scotty Austin or
Hmm.
whatever. I just telling you about that
Hmm.
tour. Scotty Austin's a great, amazing person.
Right
Like
on.
he is genuine. You know how they say don't meet your heroes because sometimes
Yeah.
you be let down. Well, you can
Right.
meet him, right?
Right.
Like he is helping so many musicians out by like allowing people to hop on tours with him, like
Right
certain
on.
legs of it and all that stuff.
Sure.
And he's such a good guy, dude. Like you
Right
can
on.
talk to him like a human fucking being. He doesn't have some sort of ego trip or any of that shit.
Right
Like
on.
he's a wild motherfucker. Like last time I saw him, I was taking a shot with tequila with him at the bar. You know? But you know, and he handed me like this root beer that he's putting out, which
Hmm.
is actually pretty good.
Is
Like
it?
it's like an
I
8 or
love
nine
root beer. I
percent root
love good
beer.
root beer. I love root
Yeah,
beer.
dude, it's a really good one. It's like 8 or 9% or something. That
Right
shit'll
on.
like, you know, put the hair back on your
Right.
chest. But you don't taste it though. You don't
Right
taste the
on.
alcohol in it, so it's dangerous as fuck, you
That's
know.
cool.
But I like it. Like,
Hell
I
yeah.
can't drink like because of the Crohn's, but when I do drink, I usually sit on something for a long
Sure.
ass time. So
Sure.
like that's like perfect for me because it's like
Right
eight or
on.
9%, and then you know I could just chill on a giant glass
Right.
and just call it with that because I can't slam back. Like I used to drink a lot of Jack. I used to go to the bar. And my routine was I'd get a shot of Jack and chase it with a Jack and Coke. Then I'd go have a cigarette, come back in, a shot of Jack with chase it with a Jack and Coke, have a cigarette, come back in, do it one more time. Then I have another cigarette. And then usually I'd switch to like Long Island's or Heineken's at that point.
Right.
And doing that shit for too long, I can't drink Jack anymore. My
Yeah.
body recognizes it as like a toxin. And honestly, dude,
Yeah.
they made weed legal in New Jersey, and ever since, like you know, on occasion, if I'm gonna get jacked up, I'll just smoke
There's some
weed.
good weed out there. I am a big proponent, for it big time. I had a friend who was like the poster child for that RSO oil. And he had like 38 rounds of chemo and radiation, and he lost 6 pounds and ate every day and never got sick. After all that stuff, he took that RSO oil, he took like 3 points of it a day instead of the 1 point. And,
Mm-hmm.
he was the poster child for it. It's not a cure all, but it
But it
definitely
helps them live
will
more
help you.
comfortably, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
I'm a firm believer in it.
There's a lot of things out there that people don't talk about, like BPH 253 or whatever the hell it is, and like all these different like chemical components and stuff that like I think that unfortunately I think that the corruption in our world has like mashed down a lot of cures for things, but
Mhm.
there are people that are independently figuring it out themselves. Like look at that one guy, the Hispanic doctor or whatever, who came up. He found a way to cure pancreatic cancer in mice.
Wow.
And
Wow.
here's the state of our world, though. People online were just talking about his face because he had a birthmark on his face,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Exactly. I know it makes no sense, and
But I actually relate to that because if I don't know if you could see this,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a
that
nice
scar,
scar. That's a nice scar.
yeah, it's some rough check. No, no, it's so when I was younger, I had a birthmark on my head. It was a big ass fucking
Right.
like $50 size fucking spot. It had
Right.
a mole on it. And when I was a little child, like my brother walked in on the nanny or whatever the fuck you child yeah babysitter or whatever. We don't have a nanny. We ain't rich. My dad was a truck driver. My mom ran an apartment complex and got swung at it on the weekly. So we
Right.
definitely not rich.
Right.
But I feel rich because I live in a house. So but
Right. Exactly.
that you just
It'd
any
always
size
be
house
worse.
now.
Always be
Any
worse.
yeah, always. But they tried to scrub it off my head so it turned red and never unturned red, right?
Oh,
So I
wow.
had to have the Catholic schoolboy comb over to cover it up just perfectly
Right.
every day of my life. And when from kindergarten all the way up to seventh grade, nonstop every day, girls would be like, "Ew, what's that thing on your head?" Like I'd get teased and fucked with
Right.
it all the time because then I'd come home sad or mad. My mom would be like, "You want to get it cut off your head?" I'm like, "No, no," because I was scared of doctors and surgery and
Right.
all that shit.
Totally.
Dude, seventh grade came and I just had it that day. I was like, fuck this shit. My mom's like, you want to get it cut off your head? I'm like, let's go right now. And, had it cut off my head. So I get what it's like to have to live and feel like a fucking some sort of virus or plague
Right.
to people, like treated like an outcast, and like all that shit, and I also know what it's like to be the bad guy too, and to be a
Mhm.
follower, a fucking
Right.
gaslighting piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because when I was in high school, when I told you I went to summer sanitarium in 2003, I went with my friend Schaefer, and we were all Schaefer was only like 23. He was a wrestling coach at the time. He was
Hmm.
a region champ and shit. He was cool with everybody,
Hmm.
and he was a great guy. He'd give you the shirt right off his back, and one day I met up with my friends and we're like, yo, what's up? And we had like a certain handshake we did and shit. And I went to do the handshake with him, like, yo, fuck that, fuck Schaefer. And I'm like, what's up with that? And they're like, nah, he's acting weird. We fuck him. I'm like, okay, me being a follower, I just went along with it, and not realizing that a turn of events would happen to him that would basically he lost his mom, and he lost his job first,
Hmm.
because everybody liked him, but like everybody was kind of like all the other people in the high school or whatever were like setting his ass up, trying to get him fired because they were jealous
Right.
of him and shit.
Right.
And I'm not just saying like, oh, they were jealous of him. Like, no, it's like evident. Like, you
Right.
could see the way that other teachers and shit look at him because like they're like, why doesn't all these people like? Why don't these kids and parents like us as much as
Right.
they like him? It's like, well, maybe if you weren't fucking pieces of shit, maybe they would. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right.
so he lost his job, and then he said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna get a better one." He started up a workout place that was attached to some law firm and shit, and it
Hmm.
was going good. Then he gets word that his only living relative, his mother, passed away, and she had so that sent him into a spiral, and he missed a
Sure.
payment on his rental space, so he lost his job again.
Right.
And with no money coming in, he missed a payment on his truck, so now he has no car to get to work, to a job. Then he misses because he has now no money, no car or truck. He missed payment on his rental place and he got kicked out. So he was living with one of the kids, families that he trained in wrestling and stuff. And then the final kicker was he got the autopsy report back from his mom who passed away, and it said that she committed suicide by ODing on medication. But here's the messed up part: she was in assisted living where all her medications are doled
Oh
out,
my
bro.
God.
Sent him for the ultimate loop, and then that was it. And I no longer have a friend named Schaefer.
Wow.
So you know how when you turn 18, 17, you
sucks,
were
dude.
excited to get your car, man? Well, guess what? 10 days before my birthday, fucking February 17th,
That's your
fucking
birthday. Mine's the 20th. Mine's the
no,
20th.
no, mine's the 27th, but 10 days
Oh,
before my birthday is when
okay.
my friend killed himself.
Oh,
So
that's
now,
fucked up.
not only do I have, because I've always hated February 17th, because of that. But you know, the thing is like that's just like one little piece of it. Like my uncle,
Right.
he went out a similar way, had some issues going on, nail gun, you know, whatever. I had a friend, Mike. I'm not going to bring his name up, but he went out a very similar way. My friend Gio, who you know, rest in peace, passed away last year on my birthday. You know, his was a different situation. He had a really rough life, and you know, I tried. This is after Schaefer too, so I already every time I hear someone has an issue, I fucking care, dude, because like I
Right.
think about my friends that I lost. That what if I said this? What if I did that?
Right.
What
Oh
something
yeah. Oh yeah.
could have probably saved them, you know?
Yeah.
And no, you can't save them.
Can't
You know,
save
you
them.
can't.
You can't.
Doesn't matter what the fuck you do. Some people you might be able to if they're
Right.
giving you like the hints and dropping the
Right.
clues. You know, like my friend Gio. I mean, I did everything I could. You know, I gave him money, food, clothes,
Hmm.
fucking found him. Me and a couple friends found a place to live and work, like all these things. But like sometimes the help that you can provide is not the help that someone needs.
That's
And
right.
you know,
That's
that's
right.
like some people. You know, some people won't recognize that they have an alcohol problem or something
Hmm.
like that. And if you could just get them to go to AA or something and open their eyes a little bit, or hear
Right.
some talk to somebody who can put the words in the right
Right.
way for it to get through, you know. But
Right.
one thing before, you know, because I know I probably I'm rambling a
No,
little
you're
bit, but
fine, dude. You're fine.
one thing I'll say though is I've noticed this. I've dubbed it 10 years ago. I call it the anti.
Hmm.
Have you ever talked to somebody and you present them with facts, straight up stats, science, reality, and they, no matter what you say to them, they will not fucking listen. They will not acknowledge.
Nope.
They can acknowledge
Exactly.
that you're telling them the truth and they won't change their
Yep.
mind
Yep.
because they got this anti up. They're just
Hmm.
against you right off the bat because it's your fucking idea, not
Yeah.
theirs, or whatever the fuck it
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
Right? I've been noticing that shit in everything. And
Hmm.
like I feel like with a lot of people that are going through some shit, you know, people, the way you present something, you know, like you might say a movie's funny, like you might talk about that new Adam Sandler movie
Right.
or whatever, and be like, oh, it's really really funny, it's so funny, especially Bad Bunny in it or whatever, right?
Right.
But by me saying that to you, you're gonna go and watch it with your expectations up, and you're gonna be
Right.
looking for shit. It's not
Right.
the same as if you just
Exactly.
watch it. You know what I mean? And
Oh
it's like
yeah.
when
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. So
I
like
know exactly how that
realistically,
goes.
like with Rawway and our sense of recovery, energy,
Right.
overcoming shit, being badass, being
Mhm.
wild, having the rock experience and the
Right.
human element and giving it to you the raw way and not sugarcoat shit, you
Right.
know, like it all ties back in 360 where we're not here to try and fix your life. We're not here to sit here and bullshit or gaslight
Right.
you into oblivion, telling you, yeah, you could be what you want. No, we're going to tell you how it fucking is from at least our perspective and what we've experienced, and you could take it from there. We're not trying to
Right.
push shit on anybody, dude. Like we, you know, like
Give
people
them a
like
little reprieve of that is what you guys do, you know.
like I have friends and family that'll hit me up like, yo, how come you didn't tell me about this show or that show? I'm like, because I don't necessarily want to like I first of all, have you ever heard I don't know if you've ever heard this, but you ever been out in a bar and like somebody comes up to you like, yo, check out my mixtape, yo. My cousin says it's fire, you know. Let me spit something in your ear real quick, whether you like it or not. Hey,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm just trying to drink this fucking beer, dude. Like
I got a
I'm
buddy who comes
trying
over here who does like drum and bass stuff, and he raps a little bit and stuff. And every time he comes over, he puts on his music. Every time in here, he just, can I put something on for a second? I want you to hear this. He says,
yeah, but you know what? Like, I understand that. I mean, like, if you're friends with somebody, but
right,
like when it's a random stranger, you got to
right,
think like sometimes you're in the mood for it, sometimes you're not.
right,
And I don't ever want to take Rawway and shove it in someone's face when they don't want it.
right,
Because I've had people do that shit to me and I don't fucking like it.
right.
So if you really want to fuck a Rawway, well, have at it. You can follow us and see when we're gonna post shit and when
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like but don't expect me to like, just because we're friends and family and stuff, to like go out of my way to invite you, because first of all, like I don't need like you'd probably only go because you're supporting me, not because you actually like the
Right.
music, right? I
Right.
don't need that. Like we don't do that. We have fans and
Right.
well, we call them family, you know, because
Mhm.
they are part of the rock family,
Oh yeah.
and we actually
Oh
give a
yeah.
shit about our like our fans and stuff.
Right
We
on.
actually connect with a lot of them. And but like the thing is, like we don't want just friends and family showing up just to show support
Right.
for us individually. We want people who love the fucking music. Otherwise, why
Right.
the fuck are we doing it? You
Right.
know, like it's
Exactly.
one thing for us to get off on stage, you know, but like overall, we want to make sure our time's not being wasted. We want to do a 2-for-1 combo. We want to get something out of it, but we also want to give something to somebody else out of it.
Right.
And
That's
and
right.
also the fact of the matter is, the more people that hop on and listen to Drowning and feel the words like, and all alone you were by yourself, you know, you were suffering by yourself or something, or like with Rocket Ship, you know, like, you know, on a road to nowhere, living in the moment, tell me, where do you see yourself? Past regrets in the shape of a
Right.
bottle, all lined up on the shelf. They'll hear that and be like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
I fucked up pretty good. I know what that's like. And
Right.
then they'll keep listening.
Right.
You know, we want people that really connect with this shit. We don't want to fucking push something in your face for you to have your anti-wall
Right.
up and be like,
Right.
man, fuck you guys, you fucking
Right.
chode. We want to just fucking, hey, here it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, we still appreciate that you gave it
Right.
15 seconds.
Right.
You know, because we know you
Totally.
could do anything else with your 15 seconds and you're
Totally.
never getting that back. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's why I tell people all the time. If you want to check it out, go for it. If not, I don't really give a fuck, because
Right.
we're gonna keep going regardless of whether you like it or not.
Right.
You know, but you know, it's just I just I want to see us get to this next level. You know,
Definitely.
I would like to eventually one day be able to quit my day job so I could do this full time. But
Right.
you know, the industry is not what it used to be, and
No.
music business are still two separate words. So
Yep.
you know, if something happens, it does. If not, I'm just gonna keep rocking out and
Keep
doing whatever the
rocking out.
fuck I
Hell
do,
yeah.
man. Like, you
You're doing
know,
it good. You guys are doing it good.
yeah.
I like it, for sure. I've been bugging your manager guy there a little bit, I was
Oh,
bugging
Larry.
him.
Oh,
Steve
whoa,
or
Larry.
whatever his name, your Archangel,
Oh,
Archangel
Larry from
Productions.
Archangel. Yeah,
Larry, that's his name. Larry, yeah.
yeah. That man, I can't begin to tell you how much work he puts in. Like, don't
Yeah.
he is like the unofficial, like he's like the fifth member of the damn band. Like
Right on.
he's been there. He's been with the band longer than me. He's been managing them way longer than me.
Right
So
on.
like, before I was even in the band, and meeting him, he's a solid guy.
Right on. He
Good
seems like a
good head
good
on his
dude.
shoulders.
Really, he's definitely helpful with me and stuff on this, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing either. I'm just, like I said, trolling Facebook and finding people who play, and you guys were one of them. And you guys got a good sound and good style, and I like you guys for sure.
Well, listen, I appreciate that shit,
No
and
problem.
it takes one to know
No
one.
problem. But now, one last question: who are you listening to right now? What bands are you listening to? Or is there anybody on your playlist or anything? Or
Well, recently, so I mentioned a band name, If Not For Me. They're from Octane. They have a song called "Feel Me Now," which I
Mhm.
really like that. I was listening to that for a while, but then when we were on tour, fucking around with the opening band, the Memphis Rundown.
Mhm.
Um, you know, because we were just messing. It was literally was a roaming party, but like we were just messing around with each other a lot. After hearing their music, you know, I would wake up like maybe like third or fourth day in, and like I'd have some of their songs stuck in my head. I'm like, that's pretty good. Let me put that shit on. You know, so I've been
Right
listening to
on.
some of them. You know, I bounce all over the place though. Lately though, I've been actually not listening to music, man.
Really?
You know, yeah, like I've been sometimes like sometimes I'll go and I mean this is gonna sound like a little wild because how I was talking about like AI and the
Mhm.
robotic and the human element and all that stuff. I still like computers and I still like AI
Right.
and I still have solo stuff I do outside of the band. So
Mhm.
like occasionally what I'll do is I'll take an old song like 15, 20
Mhm.
years old of mine,
Right.
that sounded like freaking garbage from way back when, right? And it'll have a great idea. And what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll have AI come up with some sort of make believe instrumental beat, and I'll just at random like sing the song over a beat and just try it out in different ways and like I just did it literally yesterday or the day before that with my brother. We had an old song that we had done together, and we were gonna redo it, and I came up with this crazy beat for it. Normally I produce beats, but nowadays it's like who cares? AI can make it like in no time flat. So like if I want to just sing and it doesn't matter about money and shit, then I'll just do that. And I sang probably the most amazing thing I've ever sang in my entire life 2 days ago, and it's gone forever because we didn't record it or anything. It was just in the moment, and I never sang this way either. It was a different technique than how I normally sing, which actually surprised the hell out of me. It was as if I sang more like Bad Wolves than how I normally do. Because like when I sing with RAHWAY, it's a mixture of like Godsmack, crying like a bitch gutturals with like I don't know. You can kind of fill in the blank with like a Halen high, hair metal or something, or like, and a little bit of like countryish twang. I hung out with a lot of rednecks and stuff growing up. Even though I'm from New Jersey, don't be fooled and into thinking that everybody up here in Jersey is like, gobble and all that shit, and it's all, we are the most jam-packed state with like different types of people. It's crazy, dude. Like, like the only thing I'll tell you this about New Jersey, if any of you are watching this and you're thinking about taking a trip to New Jersey in the summertime and checking out the beaches, all is well and good, except this. Do not go down streets named after dead presidents at night. That's all I can say. There are a lot of hoods in New Jersey, and a lot of them
dead
happen
presidents.
to have for example, there's a place in Asbury Park by me that has a road called Washington Avenue. It's not a great road for you to just be walking around, There are certain towns and cities and stuff that trade off with murder rates for, who's the best, like Camden. Camden is absolutely terrible. Cops, I mean, back in the day, we used to joke, cops don't even pull you over if you run a red light and that shit, because like, it's fucking bad there. And the other thing is people from out of state don't understand how it works. But I'll give you one last story. So you're driving down the road, and let's say you're in Elizabeth or Passaic or well, maybe not Passaic or Patterson, but you're in a bad area in New Jersey, and you're driving, and somebody just walks out in the middle of the road, jaywalking everything, right? So you slow down. Hey, what are you doing? While you're looking at this guy and yelling at him, all of a sudden you look to your left, your whole car is surrounded now. And they are going to rip you out your car, beat the crap out of you, steal your car, steal all your shit, and leave your ass. And that is wrong place, wrong time. So you weren't even doing anything. You were just driving through and you got hit with it. So that's how shit. The main thing is being smart. If there is a creator of some sort, I'm an agnostic. I can't prove or disprove shit, and that's why I don't get involved with religion or any of that stuff. If there happened to be somebody out there that created all this stuff and gave you a brain to know better, then you should know. You know what I mean? Like, you don't jump in the lion's den expecting, some
torn up a little bit. You're going to get torn up a little bit. A lot bit, probably.
But hey, man, I mean, it fucking is what it is. We all got to go one day anyway.
Exactly.
Crohn's ain't a good way to go. I'll tell you that, man.
No, it's not. I've seen my friend go through it the last 5-6 years that I've known her, and she's went through hell with it for sure,
Yeah. But you know what, man? As long as I can still fucking get around and do shit, this is what I think about Crohn's.
Right on, bro. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Hey, not a problem. We'll have you again on here, and let me know when you're coming out to the West Coast and shit again.
I think we will be actually in the winter, I think, but definitely just shoot a message to Larry, or if you check out if you can remember the band's website, RAHWAYBand.com, you'll be able to see wherever we're gonna be, whenever we're gonna be there.
Right on. Thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man.
Have a great day.
A lot.
Have a great day,
bro.